Hey guys, HFK here once again, and I'm pretty excited of what I just saw. So, the big news was going around on Twitter and all that good jazz. Nintendo of America confirming that Reggie Fils-Aimé was going to be in attendance of the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, and that actually happened tonight, like a couple of minutes ago. And a lot of people were just thinking that he was going to showcase Super Mario Run, but their tweets got really cryptic. Even though Nintendo of America said, "Oh, for your first look of Super Mario Run, tune in tonight at the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon." And a lot of people were like, "Are they going to show anything else? Breath of the Wild, Nintendo Switch?" But you know, using a realistic take, we were like, "Yeah, it's probably not going to be the Nintendo Switch. It's probably just going to be Super Mario Run." It seems more their speed to show something like that in Jimmy Fallon. But Lord and behold, oh my God, Reggie, Shigeru Miyamoto, and even Bill Trinen was in attendance at the Tonight Show, and Reggie Fils-Aimé, he's just like, "Oh, we have one more surprise in store for you." And then I was watching the Tonight Show from the beginning, and Jimmy Fallon, he was, talking a little bit about Super Mario Run, but then he said that Nintendo had this big, cool surprise, something cool from Nintendo, And, part of me was like, yes, please Switch, that would be great, but I mean, like, Nintendo wasn't, they've been on talk shows before, and they haven't really, like, went down and dirty with stuff that we were heavily anticipating. And the biggest thing that I saw from that was Stephen Colbert about the Legends of Symphony playing there with Triforce Force Heroes, blah, 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 blah. But Reggie did it. They had their first televised look at the Nintendo Switch playable. Jimmy Fallon is probably the first person to play this thing on TV, if not one of the first persons to play, I would say, a completed model of this. And I'm going to show you pictures of him geeking out and testing out the Switch, and it was Breath of the Wild of all games, Breath of the Wild, and it looks so good. But in order to avoid copyright with NBC and Jimmy Fallon himself, I really don't want to mess around or fuck around with that. So I'm just going to show you pictures. I'm not going to have the video lined up, but I will have a link to the video in the description box below, so check it out at your leisure. But I'm going to go ahead and analyze what we saw at the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. So, oh my God, so hype. So Reggie had the hidden block just there. We thought the hidden block was pretty aesthetic for Super Mario Run. No big deal. And then Jimmy Fallon, and he's like, "One more surprise, Jimmy." And Jimmy's like, "Oh God, don't tell me it's a Switch." Lifts the box, and it's the Switch. And like, it's kind of surreal looking at it, because of course we saw people interact with the Switch on with their commercial on YouTube, but it's so surreal, like, seeing this thing it wasn't live, it was pre-recorded, but still, like, seeing people truly interact with this piece of hardware and seeing how big it is compared to their sizes or whatnot. And then when we see the Switch, and it looks great, and it definitely looks like someone's been touching it, because you see a little bit of sweat marks and a fingerprint on the Switch screen, which is cool, because it shows these things are real. And we see the Joy-Con on the Joy-Con grip, and we see the Switch with other Joy-Cons on the side of the base tablet. And Reggie even pulls out a Switch Pro Controller in order to showcase Breath of the Wild. And with Breath of the Wild, man, you can see Jimmy just freaking out, and he was just telling all of us, and I was so glad to see Jimmy freak out. And another thing before I get into this, I'm really glad Nintendo decided to do this, because they showcase the Switch to a huge wide audience, people who watch Jimmy Fallon all across America, and they showcased this to all of them, and was crystal clear on what it was and what it can do, and perhaps their biggest game on it. And people are saying, "Oh, this game might be not delayed, but I mean, this game might be released in summer." But from what I've seen here, I'm pretty, I want this game to release in March. And we see Link standing there with the tunic that we saw from the gameplay footage that we saw at the Game Awards, with that weirdly, I would say it's weird, like, it's a red tunic with a piece of leather battle armor on Link's shoulder and whatnot. And then, he's just showcasing the world, saying that you can go anywhere you want. And we all know this. And Jimmy was like, I know this. Yeah, just let me hear it. And I don't blame him. And we see the showcase, but what we see here is still the Great Plateau. You can see the Temple of Time in the distance, and even though Reggie has the player guide, but he's on the Great Plateau with this tunic, makes us believe that you might find this particular tunic somewhere in the world, and it might be the thing before you get the champion shirt, or it might be something better. We don't know. That's the beauty of it. Now, he's also wearing the upgraded shield, aside from the Traveler's Shield, and he's probably wielding the soldier's broadsword, and I'm going to explain why I think that a bit later. And he's getting ready to push the boulder down onto the explosives and stuff. And the one thing that I need to point out about this Switch footage that we see here of Breath of the Wild is that the frame rate didn't drop when the explosions went off in the chain reaction. That's one thing that we always see Breath of the Wild struggle with in trailers, in gameplay. When I played at E3 and even at the Game Awards, the frame rate seems to drop when there's too much stuff going on at one time on screen. And one of the biggest showcases of that is the explosion chains and the explosions that you do or whatnot. And the frame rate always dropped this weird drop, like 10 frames and stuff, and it was really weird. But I mean, it was like understandable, a lot was going on screen. But on the Switch, when he did the explosion, and you can see for yourself if you click the link in the description box of the video, the frame rate does not drop when he pushes the barrels down onto the when he pushes the rock down the barrels, which I was ecstatic for. I'm like, this is it, the Switch version, best version, obviously. You know, like, this makes me really feel like, man, the Wii U version is gonna be so fucking inferior, and I'm just ready for the Switch version. So you see the explosions, and it looks great. You know, we can't really tell about too much graphical upscaling when it comes to the Wii version to the Switch version, because they were playing off a projected screen instead of just a big ass HD TV. And the reason why they did that is because, you know, they wanted to show the magic of the Switch, which we're gonna get into in a little bit, where Reggie's like, okay, I'm gonna send you up this hill to face off some Bokoblins, right? But in order for me to do that, I'm gonna go ahead and take off the Switch tablet part, and for you to play it on the go. And it's interesting here, we can finally see the wires on the back of the Switch console dock, which, okay, there goes where the wires are. But then that begs the questions, what were those other ports that we saw in the reveal trailer? But more on that later. So this is the Switch in Reggie's hands. My god, this thing looks beautiful. It's thin, it looks like you could put it in your pocket. If you have the big ass pants, you can put it in your pocket. If you have a jacket and you have those big ass jacket pocket, right there, backpack, boom. Man, this thing is gonna be nuts. I can't wait for March. And they also reiterate that this thing is coming out in March. A lot of people had whispers of like, oh, it's not gonna make the March release. Reggie was like, March, it's ready to go. And on here you can see like there are some fan ports on the top, and you can see where the cartridge goes in, even though it's closed and ready, because Breath of the Wild is in there. And yes, Breath of the Wild was running in Jimmy's hands, and he was actually playing it on the show, and this thing looked like it ran so smooth, smoother than I expected for it to run on the mobile version, right? And of course, Jimmy was messing around with it. It looked great, it looked good, it looked crisp from what we've seen. And Jimmy puts it down and messes around with the dock, and like, I will do the same shit. I'll have it in my hands. So I'm like, okay, can I take this out? But he didn't take out the controller ports. I guess he didn't want to mess with it, because that thing could look like it slip out of his hands at any moment. Jesus Christ. So then he goes on and plays the game, and he easily dispatches the Bokoblins with one sword strike each of them. So that's why I think it's the Soldier's Broadsword, because that thing has a value of like 12, and one strike from that is like, you know, it destroys Bokoblins. So and then you see here there's a fingerprint on the top. That's probably where you take it off. That kind of, I'm not saying that bothers me, but that's something I'm gonna have to like describe. Every time I'm gonna go on the go, I'm gonna lift it up, but my hand's gonna stick on the screen, and I'm gonna have to, you know, wipe that off and whatnot. And then Jimmy was so excited playing this, he even got the shield slide down, where you use the shield as a type of snowboard or a skateboard or whatever. And man, this thing looked great. It looked so grand. I am ecstatic that Nintendo did this. It was not a lot of new stuff that we saw, but what was new as a whole is the fact that this was the first time someone actually played the Switch and the Breath of the Wild on the Switch version of the Breath of the Wild, to make it matters worse, make matters greater. And when I saw it, I was on the edge of my seat. Jimmy Fallon, oh my god, my boy, dude, like, lucky bastard. People tell me I'm lucky all the time, but no, this is a man of luck. Got to play that stuff. Oh my goodness, I want to know what you guys think, because honestly, I think they kind of like sideballed us here, like they curveballed us in actually letting this man play the Switch and Breath of the Wild on the Switch. I honestly thought it was just gonna be Super Mario Run, but I want to know what you guys think in the comment section below. And if you haven't seen the video of this, you haven't seen the show, please, the link is in the description box. You can see the whole segment right there. So until the next video about the Switch, let me know what you thought. Please like, share, favorite, and most importantly, subscribe to HMK for more. And until the next video, I've been HMK, and I'll check you guys later.